It's one of the Jack Benny radio programs. So if you're frightened of this one, a few notes on Jack Benny. Jack Benny first appeared on radio as a guest of Ed Sullivan in 1932. He was then given his own show later that year. The sponsor was Canada Dry Ginger Ale. Began May 2nd, 1932 on the NBC Blue Network and continued there for 6 months until it moved to CBS. With Ted Weems leading the band, he stayed on CBS till January of 1933. At NBC, Jack Benny did the Chevrolet program. He also did the General Tire Review. These are all the same show. And then for General Foods, the Jell-O program starring Jack Benny. And when sales of Jell-O were affected by sugar rationing during World War II, it became the Great Nuts Flakes program. And finally, you probably most remember it as being the Lucky Strike program. LSMFT. Well, the show returned to CBS in 1949 and stayed on CBS for the remainder of its radio run, which ended in 1955. Now, the Jack Benny program basically followed a format every week. It never changed. The program utilized a loose show-within-a-show format. The main characters were actually playing versions of themselves. There was not really a fourth wall, per se. The show would usually open with a song by the orchestra or banter between Benny and Don Wilson, his announcer. There would then be banter between Benny and the regulars about the news of the day or about one of the running jokes on the program, such as Jack Benny's age, Dennis Day's stupidity, sorry, whoever's doing Dennis, or Mary's letters from her mother. There would then be a song by the tenor, that's Dennis, followed by a situation comedy involving an event of the week, a mini play, or a satire of a current movie. And that's what we're going to do tonight as we do the Jack Benny program from 1952, High Noon.
Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingstone, Rochester, Dennis Day, Bob Crosby, the bassist from the Sportsman Quartet, and yours truly, Don Wilson.
Hello, this is CBS, the Star's address. May I help you?
Yes, operator. With the change of time from daylight back to standard, could you tell me what program is on at 4 o'clock?
Just a minute. Say, Mabel, what program's on today at 4 o'clock?
I don't know, Gertrude. I'll look it up in this radio guide.
Hold it, Mabel. Hold it.
Huh?
Look whose picture's on page 8.
Well, take off my glove and dial with my naked finger. If it ain't Jack Benny. He's not only handsome, but look at that strong chin. What character?
Some character. One night last week, he drove me up to Mulholland Drive, pulled over to a lonely spot, turned off the ignition and said, "Well, what do you know? I'm out of gas."
No.
Yeah. So I said I'd be very happy to buy some.
I'll bet that embarrassed him.
Embarrassed him nothing. He siphoned a gallon out of his tank and sold it to me. Now, Mabel, you can't stay mad at a man like Jack Benny. Just look at that picture. The way he's standing there so casual and nonchalant with his coat thrown over his arm.
Yeah, and just look at those muscles.
Muscles? Where?
On the floor. They fell out of his sleeve.
Oh, yeah. Yes?
Operator, this is Jack Benny.
Gertrude, what's the matter?
He's waiting for applause.
I'm not waiting for applause. I'm in my dressing room. Now, operator, with the change of time today, I'd like to check my watch. What time is it, please?
It's 20 minutes to 4.
20 minutes to 4? That's funny. I've got 20 minutes to 3.
Hold on. Mabel, what time have you got?
20 minutes to 5.
No, honey. You moved your watch ahead an hour and you're supposed to move it back. Gee, are you dumb?
Well, I'm not as dumb as Jack Benny. He didn't move it at all.
How could he? His sleeves fell out of his sleeve. His muscles fell out of his sleeves.
Operator, I heard that, and I'm going to report you. That Gertrude thinks she's smart. That's the last time I give her Ethel for the price of regular. Now, let's see. Where did I put my... Oh, so you finally got here.
Hello, boss.
Rochester, you know I'm always nervous before doing a program. Why do you have to be late?
Late. I got 20 minutes to 2.
Well, no wonder. Our watches are all mixed up, and it's your fault.
My fault?
Yeah. What were you supposed to do at 2 o'clock this morning?
What I always do. Tiptoe into your room and put a hot water bottle at your feet.
Was that all you did?
Well, I must confess, boss, I tickled your toes a little.
Oh, was that you?
Yeah, when I saw the way you had your arms around that pillow, I figured you were expecting someone.
Rochester, I always sleep with my arms around a pillow.
I know, but last night you looked at it and said, "Don't you think 2 can live as cheap as 1?
Gee, I do the silliest things in my sleep. I can understand putting my arms around a pillow, but talking to it? Rochester, why didn't you wake me up?
I hated to call in, boss. You were dancing.
Oh. Well, Rochester, I'm going down the hall to Miss Livingston's dressing room. I'll see you later. Gee, but it's great after staying out late, walking my pillow back home. Da-da-da-da. Mary, are you in there?
Just a minute, Jack. I'm not dressed yet. Oh, Pauline,
Yes, Mrs. Livingstone?
Mr. Benny wants to come in. Help me into my dress, please.
Yes, ma'am, Miss Livingstone. Miss Livingstone, how long has he been on your program?
Well, Pauline, it isn't my program. It's Mr. Benny's. Mr. Benny's the star. I just work for him, and he pays me a very nice salary. Not as much as I pay you, but a very nice salary, Pauline. Now, how does this dress look?
Well, it looks all right, Miss Livingstone. But if I were you, I'd wear it a little shorter. You have such good legs.
Well, thanks, Pauline.
It's too bad you only have 2 of them.
What?
Well, what I mean is, when you got something so nice, it's too bad that you can't have more of it.
Well, believe me, Pauline, every girl who has nice legs is perfectly satisfied with just 2 of them. Well, after all, who'd look at a girl with 3 legs?
Everybody.
Mary, how about it? Is there a Mary in the house?
Oh, just a minute.
That Pauline's not taking good care of you, is she? Well, I don't know why it takes women so long to get dressed. Men don't take that long. Rochester throws me together in 5 minutes, sometimes quicker.
Oh, Jack.
Oh, Bob, I thought you were on stage rehearsing the band.
Well, I stood it just as long as I could.
What do you mean?
Well, Jack, when I agreed to take over the same orchestra that you always had, I didn't know what I was getting into.
What?
These guys are driving me nuts.
Why? Why, what's wrong?
Well, look, in the first place, I'm stuck with an electric guitar player whose nose lights up.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and then there's the trombone player who's chained to the guy sitting next to him.
Well, look, Bob.
And a drummer with a candle on his head because it's his birthday.
Bob.
And I'm not even going to mention the accordion player who cracks peanuts in the pleats.
Well, Bob, just have patience. I'm sure that,
Mr. Benny,
what is it, Dennis?
Don Wilson is looking all over for you. You should have started the program 15 minutes ago.
15 minutes ago? I've got 3:15.
I've got 4:15.
Oh, Dennis, what does your watch say?
Boulevard?
No, I don't mean that. Anyway, kids, if we're 15 minutes late, we better get out on stage.
Jack, where have you been? Hurry.
Look, Don, this is not my fault.
But the program.
Don, daylight saving time got me mixed up. We still have plenty of time to do the sketch. So just take it easy. While I'm handing out the scripts, Dennis...
4:15.
I know that. Do your part.
Oh, Jack, which sketch are we going to do?
We're going to do a satire on that wonderful picture, High Noon, which starred Gary Cooper. I am going to play the leading role.
You don't even know what time it is.
Oh, quiet. Don, turn to page 12 and introduce our play.
Okay, Jack.
Bob, is the orchestra ready?
Well, some of the boys are sitting up.
Good. Take it, Don.
Ladies and gentlemen, for our feature attraction this evening, we're going to present a version of that epic of the West, the Stanley Kramer production of High Noon. The year is 1875. The place, a little town of Hadleyville. The scene is in the office of the Justice of the Peace.
I'm the town marshal, and my name is Gary Kane. This is my wedding day. Yup. Right this moment, I'm getting married to my sweetheart, Amy.
Do not forsake me, oh my darling, on this our wedding day. Do not forsake me, oh my darling.
Do you, Amy, take this man to be your lawful wedded husband?
I do.
Do you, Gary, take Amy for your lawful wedded wife?
Yup.
Now repeat after me, Amy. I, Amy, take thee, Gary, to love, honor, and cherish.
I, Amy, take thee, Gary, to love, honor, and cherish.
Now you, Gary. I, Gary, take thee, Amy, to love, honor, and cherish.
I, Gary, take thee, Amy, to love, honor, and cherish.
And with all my worldly goods, I thee endow.
And with...
Come on, say it. And with all my worldly goods, I thee endow.
I, Gary, take thee, Amy, to love, honor, and cherish.
Justice, I even had to buy the ring.
I now pronounce you man and wife.
Gary, my husband.
Amy, my bride, kiss me.
It's customary for the Justice of the Peace to get the first kiss.
Stand aside, Amy. The man wants to kiss me.
I mean her.
Oh, come on, Amy. Let's get going on our honeymoon.
Gee, Gary, I'm so glad that you're gonna give up being marshal and put those awful guns away.
Yes, Amy. Now we can have a peaceful life.
Marshal, Marshal!
Yeah? What's up?
Terrible news. Frank Miller has been released from jail.
No.
Yeah, and he's arriving in town at high noon.
High noon?
Yes, high noon. And 3 of his henchmen are waiting at the railroad station to meet him.
Where are my guns? And I better swear in some deputies. I gotta get Frank Miller before he gets me.
Gary, tell me, what's this all about?
Amy, 5 years ago, I arrested Frank Miller and sent him to jail. He vowed he'd kill me when he got out. Well, I've got to get him first.
But Gary, you may be killed. I don't want to become a widow on my wedding day. I want to go on a honeymoon.
Oh, look, Amy, I can't run away. You wouldn't want to be married to a coward, would you?
I'd do anything to get out of the May Company.
Well, it was then I realized that Amy, spelled sideways, was May. But I had my duty to perform, even if it meant losing Amy. I went outside and walked the hot, dusty, deserted streets, looking in vain for men to serve as deputies.
Oh, to be torn twigs, love and duty, supposing I lose my fair-haired beauty. Look at that big hand move along, near in high noon. He made a vow while in state's prison, vowed 'twould be my life for his.
I went everywhere looking for deputies. I went to their homes and the general store. I went to the town saloon. In fact, we had a scene in the saloon, but we cut it because Phil Harris is on another network. Well, finally, I went looking for desperate Dennis McNulty, a man who had been my assistant. Suddenly, I saw him. He came riding towards me.
Whoa! Easy now. Easy. Easy, old Pete.
Moo!
I never had the heart to tell him. He rode that cow everywhere. In fact, he was the man who originated the white line down the middle of the street. He dismounted and said,
Hi, Gary. Congratulations. I heard you just got married.
"That's right, I did."
Who'd you marry? The school teacher?
"No, why?"
They always do in westerns.
Look, I haven't time to talk about that. I'm in trouble, Frank. No, I'm in trouble. Frank Miller's coming back in town to kill me. I need help and a rehearsal.
You sure do. You sure come to the right man. I'll help you.
You will? You mean you're not afraid?
Of course not. When I see Frank Miller, I'll sneak up behind him.
Uh-huh.
Then I'll stick my gun in his back and say, feet up.
You mean hands up?
No, feet up. Pat him on the po-po.
What?
Let's hear him laugh.
As I left him, he turned the cow over on its back and was milking it. Looked like the fountain at Wilshire and Santa Monica. I kept walking on through the town, looking for help. The streets were deserted. It was getting close to high noon, and I had to find somebody to deputize. So I just kept walking. Time was running short, and still I could find no one to help me. I was a marked man. No one would even come near me. This was before the days of chlorophyll. I didn't know what to do. In my search for help, I wandered down to the Mexican quarter. I came upon a group of people who were having a fiesta. Well, needing a deputy badly, I approached one of the men and said, "Pardon me, senor, but do you know who I am?"
See?
You know there's a man out to kill me?
See?
Would you be willing to help me?
See?
Oh, what's your name?
Sigh.
Sai?
See?
Now you there, you, senorita, are you a sister?
Sí,
Is it all right for your brother to help me?
sí.
Well, what's your name?
Conchita Guadalupe, Lolita Hernandez Gonzalez, Clarita del Prado, Ramona Rosita Ramirez.
Conchita Guadalupe Lolita Hernandez Gonzalez Clarita del Prado Ramona Rosita Ramirez?
Sí,
But that name is too long. What can I call you?
Sue.
Sue?
Sí,
But I was talking to her, wasn't I?
sí.
What do you do for a living?
So,
So?
sí.
Now cut that out. Well, I appreciated her offer to help, but I couldn't take a chance on Conchita Guadalupe Lolita Hernandez Gonzalez Clarita del Prado Ramona Rosita Ramirez getting killed. It would drive the tombstone maker nuts. Now I had to make up my mind. I wasn't going to wait for Miller to come looking for me. I decided to go down to the railroad station and wait for him.
He made a vow while in state's prison, vowed 'twould be my life for his, and I'm not afraid of death, but oh, what will I do if you leave me?
I reached the railroad station. Frank Miller's train was due to arrive at high noon. There was only a few minutes to wait. I went inside.
Train now loading on track 5 for Anaheim, Azusa, and Cucamonga.
I was alone in the station except for one cowboy. Thinking I could make him a deputy, I went over to talk to him. What's your name, partner?
Tex Crosby.
Tex, eh? Then you were born in Texas.
Nah, I was born in Louisiana, but ain't nobody gonna call me Louise.
That's an old joke.
Well, it was new in 1875.
Oh, yeah. What are you doing here anyway, Tex?
Well, I'm a-waiting for Frank Miller to arrive. We're gonna kill the town marshal.
Oh, you are, eh? Well, I'm the town marshal, and I'm gonna kill you.
Train now leaving on track 5 for Anaheim, Azusa, and
I'll give you a fighting chance. When I count 3, draw and shoot.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Amonga.
I got you, Tex. As he lay there, he reminded me of his brother. He was a groaner, too. Now I had gotten rid of one of the killers. The high noon train pulled into the station. It came to a stop. Frank Miller got off the very last car, where he was met by his 2 remaining henchmen. This was my date with destiny. There fell a lonely silence as I walked toward the 3 men who wanted to kill me. Alone in the blazing noonday sun, my hands on my guns, as slowly I kept going towards them. My clumsy sound man got up and I continued walking. My hand was sweating, my throat was dry. I knew that within 1 minute either they or I would be dead. As soon as I got within pistol range, I drew my gun and fired. Yup. I killed all three of them without giving them a chance to talk. This wasn't the way it was done in the picture, but I know how to save money on actors. I was safe now. My only problem now was whether to ask my wife to come back to me or go looking for Conchita, Guadalupe, Lolita, Hernandez, Gonzalez, Clarita del Prado, Ramones, Rositas, Ramirez. But regardless of the mix-up in daylight savings time, I and the whole town knew it was high noon. We're a little late, so good night, folks. Too many papers. Okay, well, here's a rundown of the cast of High Noon, where several members took on multiple parts. Some of them did more than we asked. Marty McNulty was Jack's announcer, Don Wilson, as well as the Justice of the Peace, who wanted to kiss Gary Kane. Or was it Amy? Marty, as always, put together the music and sound effects. Multi-talented Andre Dixon was Mel Blanc, also known as Cy. Andre also portrayed the somewhat confused Dennis Day. Frustrated band leader Bob Crosby was Walt Kovalik, while Sue Kovalik played Pauline, Mary Livingston's assistant. Ellie Babka took the role of Gertrude Gearshift, who went on a very expensive date with Jack. Her friend Mabel Flapsaddle was Sue Gazinski, who, believe it or not, also played Sue. Actually, it's Gazinski, right? Not a lot of Polish people out west. Jack's friend Mary Livingston, a.k.a. Amy, was Donna Amesmeyer. Special recognition goes to Dave Sanchi, who not only portrayed the railroad announcer, but also did Rochester Van Jones and was the soloist singing the theme song for High Noon. And Jack Benny, Gary Kane, was me, Jay Summerfield. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the Riverside Township Board, led by Richard Tusher, in the front row, who sponsor our group and provide free entertainment to the community. Thanks also to our technicians, John V. Gelsomino and Lorenzo Cordova, who get our broadcasts out on local cable channel 6, and to Andre Dixon, who puts all our broadcasts on www.riversideradio.net for the current year, and on, I hope this is right, www.riversideradioOld.net. Is that right? Okay, good. For previous years, thanks to Andre. And now, here is Dave Sanchi to tell you a little bit about next month's offerings.
As you know, this season we did something different, and each one of us took turns every month doing different shows. And so next month I'll be doing the casting and directing and presenting 3 shows. So what I came up with is a theme of a lot of people back in the 40s when kids got home from school, they all had the serials that they listened to. This is obviously before TV. And so there was Jack Armstrong and Captain Midnight, etc. So we're going to do a Superman episode, and it'll be a final episode of the serial. So you will get to see justice done in that one. And then we're going to do a Let's Pretend, which was a popular children's show on Saturday mornings. And they went to all exotic locales and everything. And this particular one is called Dick Whittington's Cat, and I think you'll really enjoy it. It's a very good story. And then, as they say, always leave them laughing, so we'll finish with Easy Aces. So that'll all be next month, and I hope you can all be here for that. Thank you.
And I'd just like to add, May will be our last show for this season. We take the summer off. So if you want to come again for one more show and bring friends, because it will be the last of the season until we start in September. So please do join us next May. May 17th. Oh, it's not the 4th. Normally it's the 4th Friday, but this time it's the 3rd Friday because Memorial Day weekend comes in after. So see you May 17th and bring friends. Thank you.